Happy Testicle Tuesday, YouTube. I'm back. The Leafs played another game. 4 games in 6 nights now. Uh, the Montreal game, like I mentioned, was rough. It was sloppy, especially in the third period. They let it get away from them. And last night, they were prepared. Stanley Cup's in town, or Stanley Cup champions are in town. They threw out a bit of a stinker in Montreal on Saturday night. Not going to be the case last night. They came out hard. They came out wanting a victory. They came out wanting to reverse the mistakes of Saturday night, and for the most part, it worked. For pretty much the entire night, they were the better team. It was close, but I felt as though they deserved the win. They were the better team. They were the more doggedly pursuers of the puck and of the goals, but it just didn't kind of work out. The first period went scoreless. Second period is when the bulk of the scoring happened. Blues opened it up, and the first goal was a bit of a weak one on Fred. It was just a straight up slap shot from a little beyond one of the dots, and just beat him clean. And I thought that he probably would have wanted that one back, because that's not a typical kind of Fred moment there. He usually 99.9% of the time would have stopped that one. So that was unfortunate that went in. But the Leafs responded not long afterwards. The fourth line's been a bit of a revolving rotation of guys. There's Jason Spezza, Nick Shore, Nick Petan. They've kind of been cycling guys in and out on the fourth line. And last night it was Petan and Spezza that were in. And the Leafs' first goal was some good work from Spezza. He kind of dug a loose puck out from the goalie and kind of hit it up into the air, and then just about a high stick, but not quite. He passed it to Gauthier in front, and there was a big scramble in front of the net, and the Goat just tapped it in. So that tied things up. And then I think it was like 25 seconds later, something like that, there was a pretty little passing play between Johnsson and CC and Nylander, and they deked Binnington out of his skates and put it in to make it 2-1 Leafs. But St. Louis would respond before the end of the period and tie things up at 2-2, so we headed into the third with a tight tie game. So the Leafs pressed, but unfortunately it was St. Louis who got the goal. It was a weird one too. It was a cross-crease pass, and both players were really deep. And Pietrangelo beat Fred just above the pad in between the glove when he was sprawling to the left side to make the save. And I didn't see it go in at first, and I was like, what happened here? And then I realized that it had gone in, and I thought for sure that Fred had gotten that one, but he didn't. And so with about around 8 minutes left in the game, they were down 3-2. They tried, they pressed, they took a late penalty, which kind of stalled their momentum a bit, I think. And but yeah, they pulled the goalie and they tried. They had a bunch of chances. Mikheyev, who just continues to impress as the Leafs' big rookie, had a real glorious opportunity, but Binnington got the pad out on him, and it just wasn't meant to be. And they ended up falling 3-2. Now, it's not so bad falling to the Stanley Cup champions. I mean, there could be many, many worse things to happen. And St. Louis, although the Leafs had their number for most of the night, that's the thing with a championship caliber team with a lot of veterans on it, right? Like, they just battled and never counted themselves out, and they came out with the win, right? So that could be another good lesson for the Leafs going forward, and at least the 2 points go to the West and not the East. That's kind of I'm trying to take the silver linings out of this one. In terms of the players, we know what we're getting with Riley and Barry and those guys. CC has been solid. I think that he's the more he's playing, he's going to round out to be a good addition to their decor. The guy that I'm really excited about, though, is Sandin, the rookie, because he does not look out of place out there at all. He has a little bobble every once in a while. Like, I don't know, he'll mishandle the puck or he'll kind of trip over his own skates. I don't know if it's nerves or whatever, but nothing phases him. He just gets up, makes a play, and on he goes. So I think he's going to be a really, really key guy for the Leafs decor if he stays healthy and continues to play at this level as the games roll on, and hopefully becomes a permanent part of that decor, because I think that he's going to be a good one. In terms of the forwards, the third line again with Mikheyev and Moore, and God, I still can't get the player straight. But that was another solid unit. All 4 lines actually were really good last night. They were all very consistent, and had a number of chances. And Matthews hit a post. I think they had a couple of posts actually. So it was kind of one of those nights where, shoulda coulda, woulda, but didn't. And so I don't think they're going to think too hard on this one and just kind of move on and put it in the bank and realize that, yeah, we lost to the Cup champs, but we played a really great game, so let's just keep rolling out that kind of effort, and we're going to win, 80-90% of the time, right, if they stay that consistent. So yeah, it was a good game. What can you do? That's hockey. That's parity, right? So they got Tampa at home on Thursday. That is their next game. Nice for them to get a few nights off here now that they've played all that hockey. And hopefully, yeah, they can come out flying, because Tampa's a hard team to beat. I mean, they're not a playoff threat. They're just too reliant on skill and not enough grit. So I'm not concerned about them from a playoff standpoint. But during the regular season, they can be hard to handle, although the Leafs do tend to match up against them well. So hopefully they can put in a good few days of practice and then get back in the win column on Thursday. And until then, have a great week.